they know something is wrong, but they don't have the right vocabulary to express it the way we expect them to. They would shout, they would hit, and that's a sign that there's something wrong. Something has not been met.
You are knowingly or unknowingly writing a software on it. If you have issues with anger, kid is going to be angry.
Welcome back to the Disease Free Society, where we decode health without any noise. We uncover one hidden truth about better health every week. Today, along with Dr. Sodhi, I'm joined by Shruthi Desai, whose journey reflects courage and conscious transformation. She is the founder of Modita Circle and the voice behind the Conscious Children Project, where she discusses extensively about what is real, what is ideal, and how young people want them to be referred or heard as. Welcome, Shruti. When you work with children, what is the earliest moment you notice that something is off?
Mhm. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Dr. Sodhi. I think you rightly said that it does not, the symptoms and everything does not automatically show up in adulthood, but it actually starts much earlier. Some kids by age of 7, they are already showing some signs and symptoms.
That's way too young.
Yes, and that is surprising, and that was really shocking for me to learn as well. I thought, we as an adult, get in or have issues with anger or stress or anxiety, but the truth is they all start very young, and if they are not cared for or nurtured, it turns into anger management, or it turns into anxiety, panic attacks. So by age of 7, some of them already start to show signs and symptoms, but most of them by age of 14, they're already having those signs and symptoms. And for a parent, that could be really hard to identify, because they don't come holding a board, right? Saying, yes, I'm anxious. Kids don't know how to express
Their feelings, what they're going through.
Exactly. So they don't usually express, but body definitely shows. I'm sure, through Ayurveda, we can dig deeper into it, but body does show, like you said, stomach ache, frequent headaches, not able to sleep. And some kids during my classes, I noticed that it's very hard for them to sit quiet. They are like, why are you asking me to do this? I just can't. This is really hard. And they start fidgeting, or they start playing with their mat. It is so hard for
Is
them.
it the environment around them that triggers these things, or is it something in them? For example, a trauma, maybe something not off or not good at their home. Is it that just triggers these, or
I think
it's natural?
I think the factors could be several, but one factor for sure is the overstimulation, right?
Okay.
If we go back in time, like when we grew up, we didn't have social media, we didn't have any of those, right? So we were only
television.
Yes, and we only had information given to us which was in our village, in our surrounding.
I think age appropriate information, sir. They are exposed to too many things at not even at the right age, as you said, 7.
Right.
7 is just the age to play, not even think of things. So
Right.
anxiety at 7, I think that's concerning.
Right.
So from clinical lens, Dr. Sodhi, what are these early signs?
So I'm going to just quote some very interesting historical story here. We all know about President George Washington. As a young kid, he used to get asthma attacks. And later on, when he became a president of the country, he realized that he didn't want to go to school, so he precipitated real asthma attack.
Oh.
And later on, he learned how to overcome it, because it was all associated with the anxiety,
the stress behind going to the school.
So, I come from a teaching family. My father was the principal of schools, and my father was very adamant of two parents taking care of the first 5 years of life. Both parents should be there.
The foundation, when the kid's foundation is actually laid.
Exactly. So he because my mom was very progressive, go getter. So she wanted to study hard, but he will say, let them become 5 years. After 5 years, you can go. And she did study a lot of years after she had 4 kids. But I used to hear, let them, because we are programming them. We are just like making them what they're going to be in future. So if you go back to your own childhood, because I remember, like, my parents fought. Every family has
Yes.
some little bit here and there, and I will go behind the curtain and listen to their dialogues, what they're saying, and then depending upon their dialogue, I will have that emotion of anger or fear. And I because what you hear, oh my God, they're gonna be separated or something. So the baby's mind is very,
Because they don't know that this is not
exactly.
real,
So,
or
but the trauma, just think about
I
the
get
trauma.
it.
As a young kid, I used to see that I was walking, holding my mom's pallu all the time, her some shirt all the time, and so this is called separation anxiety. And I realized that I was anxious as a young kid.
So,
Mhm.
Shruti, kids don't realize all these things, but they are still getting into their behaviors, their patterns, and as they grow up, it
Right.
turns into a trauma, maybe. So, if this childhood trauma is not treated, that
Right.
is when the diseases peak
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Am I right?
Yes, I mean, if I can say, like, today, like, doctor was saying that we all want our kids to acquire one more skill, one
Hmm.
more activity, one more medal, right? We are always in,
Pushing.
yeah, pushing, go getting.
Overstimulating.
Yes. But, I often ask my students' parents that, do you schedule time for downtime? Like, do you schedule time for them to process their thoughts? Do you teach them self care, not from the hygiene standpoint, right? Do you teach them how to care for them internally and physically, right? Physically could be exercise,
Mhm.
internally could be like, what is happening, why am I feeling sad? Asking them those questions, it might seem very subtle, but it has a very long term effect if they are able to pause and think, why am I feeling sad? Because my brother didn't give me that toy?
Mm.
Or am I feeling sad because I didn't sleep well? I'll give you an example of a kid who came to my class. He came in, he was very anxious. He started saying things, I will not do right, I will throw things, I will not. I usually give a sticker at the end of the class, and he's like, I will not get the sticker today, I am going to be really hard, or I'm going to be bad. And then I just let the class progress. I did give him the attention he needs in terms of praising him for the good things he was doing,
Mhm.
but I didn't focus on the fact that what the things that he
Wrong.
was saying.
Yeah.
And
Processing.
right after Shavasana, which is the resting pose, he comes back and he tells me someone in the school was not ready to be friends with him,
Oh.
right? And then he goes back and drops me a voice note saying, I didn't sleep well the previous night. And so what happened there was the time to process his emotions. He got the time to breathe, and he initially he was reacting, then he knew what was happening. So the next time he's aware how to respond,
Yeah.
right? And he's only 7, and imagine just few minutes of activity, how much it can train your mind.
Thought process.
So, Shruti, kids know their feeling. What I hear from you is we generally ignore that, oh, this is a kid. What does that kid know? They do
Right.
not know. But what I hear from you is they know their feeling.
Exactly.
They know how to deal with it right at that
Right.
age.
Yeah, I think the point is they know their feelings, but they lack the vocabulary.
Okay.
So they don't know how to express it. They know something is wrong, but they don't have the right vocabulary to express it the way we expect them to. So that is, I think, is the gap where they know what is happening. They know something is not right, and we expect them to share it like an adult. Hey, I'm anxious, can you help
Uh,
me? That's what we as an adult expect, but that's not how they would react. They would shout, they would hit, and that's a sign that there's something wrong.
Wrong.
Something has not been met.
Children don't show stress suddenly. They show some symptoms, like could be digestion, constipation. By the way, very common. It's a anxiety-driven process. Your brain and your gut is connected. Even diarrhea. We all notice in the adults when people are under stress, they're going to the bathroom or going constipated. The tummy aches, the asthma. They're not willing to go to the school. The symptom may come at the time when they're going to school. Exactly. So we need to pay attention to those clues that what's going on. And it can be also lack of focus, change in appetite, and sleep issues. A lot of kids, I know they have a huge issue with going to bed early. And we need to create a ritual for the kids, by the way, because otherwise it's not going to happen there. And a lot of parents come to me. They have cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone these days, and the kids are sleeping with cell phone and talking 2 o'clock in the morning to their friends. These are not problems, these are early signs.
So, Shruti, as Dr. Sodhi was mentioning about these cell phones and kids talking to their friends
Mhm.
overnight or something, we all are addicted to phones.
Yes.
Everybody wants to have the social media presence. So, as an adult, we are
Mhm.
setting that example.
Right.
We are doing that in front of our kids. So,
Mhm.
how can we teach our kids to differentiate
Mhm.
between what is right, what is wrong, where they need to draw that line? Because I know many parents, as young as second graders or third graders,
Mhm.
parents, they give Apple Watches to their kid or maybe
Right.
phones to their kid.
Right.
And then there is a peer pressure
Right.
that's built up. So, how do we deal with it?
No, I think that's a very good question. And I have spoken to many teenagers around this topic as part of my podcast. But the question is, we cannot go back in time, right? We have,
Hmm.
the fact is, we are in this digital age. And so there is no reverse. We cannot say everybody is using, but I didn't use as a kid, so you don't get to use it.
We're not going
That,
back to the
yeah,
Stone Age.
right. So that will not work. That cannot be accepted. So instead, how do we teach them, like you said, when to draw the line? And also, if you're using, how do you also take time off the screen, right? And most of the teenagers, when I also have the same thought process, that anytime I see a teenager is holding the
Holding
phone,
phone,
right?
yeah.
And but when I asked them, why is it that you're always on the phone, the question they in turn told me that, tell me, how do I communicate with my friends? I
Hmm.
have to depend on my parents to travel, right? I don't know to drive. I have to depend on them, and there's no social network, and my friends don't live close by, unlike, my parents used to say that their neighbor were friends.
Hmm.
But my community is spread out. So how do I connect? And which I thought was fair, right? So that is their world, which we have to accept.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we also have to teach, knowing that you are spending so much time on screen, is there a way we can give you without screen time? Can we sit down as a family, play a board game,
Yeah,
right?
I think
That's a
that's
simple thing,
missing.
Yeah.
That's
right?
missing. They don't know how to engage themselves apart from the phone. I would want you to tell more about how to engage a kid
Right.
apart from the technology they are using. How do we engage them?
Right. So there are several activities you could do, like, we play together as a family board games. And if, yoga and physical activities would be something really essential for the physical health as well as mental health. But if there is no time, I would say bedtime is the real, I think, window
Window.
to you understand your child, and also to share the values that you want to inculcate. So I have like a small bedtime routine and a long one. But the small one is something that we always get to, despite how busy we are, whether I'm putting the kids to bed or my husband is putting to bed. Well, three things that we do is we read a story. It could be a story that we read, or it could be a story that I'm making it up
Okay.
based on what I want to kind of
Convey.
convey.
Yeah.
Or the kids are sharing a story from their day. And then second is a prayer. Both of them, recite a prayer. And the third thing which we do is I ask them what are they grateful for that particular day,
Yeah.
which is a time that they pause to think back what happened in the day.
Mm.
They process it and then they share. I'm not just asking them what are you grateful for. I am specifically asking them what are you grateful for that particular day. So it helps them process the entire day and give me one response. But if I have luxury of time, we play on the bed, or we say some affirmations. And my kids also love the Headspace app, where there are small meditation for kids called monster meditation.
Okay.
And so that's something that, younger kids, my kids are 7 and 3, so that's something that is really fascinating for them.
Mhm.
But if your kids are teenagers, all teenagers, believe it or not, they want attention from their parents. Although they might seem like, oh no, I'm not interested,
Disconnected.
everyone I spoke to, they say, I wish we had a connecting time, like playing games. I wish my parents sat down with me, asked me how things are. So everybody wants connection, and we are all humans. We are
That's right.
built on connection, right?
So taking that conscious time
Mhm.
out and making it look like a natural one,
Right.
that's the building block of a child, is what I
Right.
hear from you.
Right.
Creating a routine is a medicine. When you know when to eat, when to sleep, when to exercise, you are naturally settled down. Your body is already in balance. And because I grew up with the kids too, in America, and I was the first adult in my family who has the kids earlier, and we came to the same problem, the cell phones, everything. So I have a curfew, and so they will even argue that, oh, no, you cannot take my phone off, but says yes, who pays for it? So if I pay for it, I have the timing,
Right.
and the timing was for their betterment. And
Mhm.
I have two grandkids of same age as your kids are, and so when I go to Dallas, they live in Dallas. So what I do, I take them out in the park.
Mhm.
We go into the riverbed, and they were so fond of finding fossils and looking at different animals.
Mhm.
Entirely, the studies show when you get exposed to the sunlight,
Mhm.
you don't get your eyes are defective.
Oh, really?
The
Mhm.
UV light, interestingly, has a amazing effect. So the kids who are in front of the screen all the time
Mhm.
and they are inside, they will have more a problem with the eyesight.
Mhm.
So the go outside, the sunlight helps our eyes to get better. And also looking at the farthest thing and the closest thing.
Mhm.
So you can look at the tree top, and then you can look at a small bug in the bed there. That has a effect on your eyesight. And
Mhm.
this is a stimulation. There is a very interesting studies done in the animal model. What they did, they took the mice from the
Mhm.
same mother and
Mhm.
divided them into 2 litter. So 1 litter was exposed to horizontal cages. So the cages were horizontal. And one has a vertical cages.
Mhm.
Everything else the same.
Mhm.
After 3 months, they tested them. The animals which grew up in horizontal cages, they could not see vertical things.
Vertical things,
Hmm.
yeah.
The animals who grew up in vertical cages could not see horizontal things.
Mhm.
So what I'm trying to say is that early introduction of rightful things will expand their capacity to grow, because we are creating a basis here,
Right.
and it's going to just build up from there.
Right.
Mm.
So
So
that's
very important. The
yeah.
mother nature element is the most important element.
Right. I think you bring up a good point of, starting early, because most of the parents of that mindset, when I tell them that I teach yoga, they're like, my kid is fine, right?
Mm.
They don't have any issues.
Yeah.
And it's only for someone who has a mental issue or something. That's not the case,
No.
right? And the second set of parents think that if I put them into sports or academics, they can make a career out of it.
Yeah.
But the truth is, yoga will only elevate and help you excel in those fields.
Exactly.
And like you said, the symptoms and signs will not show up in your adulthood, but if you're nurturing and taking care of your mental health from the get-go, then anything that you do, you're able to stay present, and be with that self-awareness, you're able to navigate your life.
Exactly.
A balanced body create a calm mind. A
Yeah.
calm mind creates a healthy
Yeah.
person.
Right.
Yeah. And this been shown that people who are athletic,
Mm-hmm.
they go into sports, they are more successful in life.
Right.
So like when I was growing up, being a son of a teacher, our emphasis was on academia. And I think luckily we grew up in Himachal Pradesh, so there was a mother nature element which was filling it in. But if I was just only academia, and when my kids were growing, so I was putting them, no, nurture all the way through, not
Right.
only academia. And a lot of Indian parents do, like we were saying. So a lot of these kids who come to me, they have 4 or 5 the higher level of tests they're taking,
Right.
which are what they call them,
AP,
APs,
advanced.
yes,
AP,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
advanced training program, and that is college level, by the way.
Right.
Mm.
So now you see this kid
Mhm.
who is just 16, 15 years old, he is taking 4 college credit, 3
Mhm.
college credit.
Mentally, he is at the 21,
Exactly.
but physically, he is 16.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's completely a mismatch. I think that is where the imbalance
And
comes in.
especially I
Right,
think the
right.
Asian kid, the Indian, Chinese, Korean, they push them too much.
Mhm.
So I think there is some stimulation. There should be balance. And yes,
Correct.
we need to do some push, but then we also need to back off too.
Right.
Because if you do one way, it's going to revolt back against you.
Right.
Some wonderful stimulation and then back off. So start small. Children don't need complexity. Create a routine. Make sure that you're eating nutritious food. I think the food is something we want to say something about it. I will discourage any packaged food. It's processed and has chemicals which we were never exposed in the human life. It has colors. It has which is
Artificial
artificial
dyes.
dyes. The allergies. Swati has gone 3,000 times. 3,000, not 3 times. 3,000 times. And one of the reason is all the chemicals which you're putting in. Any packaged food, will have a preservatives in it because you cannot make it shelf stable.
A packaged food, once we open that package, you are
It's
making
gone.
a tear in your gut.
Exactly.
I think that is what we hear
Exactly.
from you.
Exactly. So the thing is, let's expose them to natural food. Let's expose them to different. And like my granddaughter is turning 5 in April next month, and so she already making cookies with her grandmother. She actually make roti. So it's like a very I see the and she knows what is good and what is bad already. So I think there is an installation. Yes, they're gonna still go towards junk.
Right.
But our goal is to give them right education and bring it back to the normal again.
I think giving them the ability to make that decision, what is right and what is wrong, that should be our goal.
Right. Well, no, rightly said. I think it's about empowering them, educating why one is junk, why one is healthy, what it does to their body, and then asking them to pick, right? Because we will not be with them
With them,
throughout the
yeah.
life, right? So educating them earlier on would help.
Yes, what you're saying is so true because because we cooked at home and give the tiffins to our kids, and everybody out is eating school junk.
School lunch.
And what is school junk? Pizza almost every day of the
Right.
year, and
Burgers.
then they have potato, the deep fried potatoes. Actually, that taught me so much. All the French fries. So when you fry a the potato, so there is a compound. It's called acrylamide. It goes several thousand high in a deep fried potato. If you boil it, its number stays only in 100. So body can handle it more better. So now the form of food you're making, the deep fried, make the toxic load go on the highest level.
End.
So similarly, like barbecue chicken, barbecue meat, very highly toxic. Same chicken, same meat. If you cook it, make a curry form, the healthiest form. So I think we need to all your corn chips and potato chips and this chips and protein chips. I see so many garbage out there, but that's garbage because fried at a very high temperature. That oil, I don't know how many thousand times have been used.
Right.
It's a commercial thing. They want to make money out of it. So they're not thinking about a child. So in short, you need consistency. You need a good quality sleep. Going to bed by 10 o'clock, and then lesser screen time, and have a amazing relationship with your peers, friends, and family.
So if a child says, I'm not well, I don't want to go to school, how should a parent respond?
Very common. Very common.
Yeah, it's almost
Yes.
everyday struggle for
Yeah.
every parent. So
Yeah.
how should a
Yes.
parent react
And
to it?
I mean, that is something that I have to deal with almost once a week at least, especially on Mondays, because they're so used to spending time with you at home.
Yeah.
So getting back and getting ready and going to school, and school, although there will be a schedule, I think there's a lot of uncertainties, right? So I think, like doctor said, routine is what they thrive on. So how do we help them kind of build that routine? And to your point, how do we support that? We will not, what would I say, we will not negate it. We will not say no, you have to go, but ask them why is it that they don't want to go. For some reasons, for sometimes for some children, it is that they might have had a bad day the previous time, or something happened in the school, someone didn't play with them. So there is always a reason why they don't want to go. So I think going to the root of why and telling them how it can be better, or telling them I will come with you to your school. So doctor had shared one example of you and your dad, of when you were scared to go by yourself, he used to walk with you, right? So something like that, where we show courage, we support them, and I think then they feel like, okay, there is someone who's going to care for me,
I
right?
think being their backbone, that
Correct.
they have their parent in any situation, no
Right.
matter what they are,
Yeah.
they have that support. We need to create that.
Unconditional love.
We need to
Right.
create that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So for disease-free society, we have to start early, and the best age to start is your childhood. You're programming your kids for becoming the best citizen of the whole world, and this starts with at home with your parents, and you make good habits of eating, routine, sleep pattern, exercise, and then having a wonderful gut laugh too. And you should create, like I love going outdoor. I love going hiking and taking your kids. I still remember very crisply when I used to go with my dad out, and I have created a lot of curiosity about the plant. And I think that what made me the doctor of the plant, because I will listen and say, what is this plant? What it does to you? And he will explain it to me. And I got so fascinated with it that later on I became an Ayurvedic doctor.
So are we as parents, are we putting pressure on the kids in this so
Highly competitive
highly
world.
competitive environment? We as
Yeah.
a parent, are we
Yes.
putting that pressure because we are under stress and we are just
Yes.
giving that to the next generation? Is it so? Do you feel?
I would say 100%. I mean, before I was aware about the mental health, child psychology, and aspects of yoga, I was also someone who would chase, right? I was
Mm.
in the corporate world for the longest time. I would chase, and I would also, not have the time to sit down or, connect with my kids. And it was always in the correction mode, right?
Hmm.
We always tend to, okay, if my kid is throwing tantrums, I would correct him rather than connect with him. So I
Mhm.
think uh, for me, what I have realized is slowing down is where the true magic happens, right?
Okay.
We are in such fast-paced world that we
Yeah.
want to accomplish a lot
Yeah.
more things, which is fine.
Very true.
But I think we should also schedule time to slow down,
Yeah.
because that's when I think we understand ourselves. We can see the signs and symptoms in our kids and help them, nurture them, so that they have the skill sets back of their pocket as they navigate the life from
Yeah.
there on. I think it all starts from us.
Us.
How we react, how we respond. They are like sponges,
Hmm.
Exactly.
right? Yeah, they are
Very
like
true.
mirrors.
Yeah.
Although that's the hard truth, although we
Yeah.
don't want to accept
Agree.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is
Yes.
what it
But
is.
if you go back to the times, how would you relate to it? That how did we, when we were teenagers, how do you because there was not so much awareness back then.
Correct.
We used to be scared of our parents to
Correct.
even talk about something. I'm sure it's like all of us have
Right.
dealt with it. So if you reflect back at that time, what would you say? How did we cope up, and what is the learning from our growing up that we can transfer to our kids so that they can still cope up?
Right.
Have you seen any pattern or
Yes.
something?
No, that's a really great question. I'll tell you why I grew up in a joint family. And so for me, like both my parents were working, right?
Same, I
But
think.
yeah, and most of us might come from the similar background.
Hmm.
So my emotional cups were filled by my grandparents, and my parents used to take care of the needs, whereas my emotional cup was filled by my
That's such a
grandparents.
Grandparents.
nice
Yeah.
Exactly.
perspective to
Yes.
have.
Yeah.
I
So
think,
all of
yeah.
us have certain needs,
Yeah.
and we had the support of the village.
Yeah.
So the burden was not on the parents all the time. And so that's how I think I have coped up. I'm sure there are certain things that, I was scared of my dad.
I
And
can relate to it. I
yeah,
felt like you're telling
yes.
my story.
So, and for the longest time until I got married, believe it or not, my communication with my dad was through emails.
Oh.
I would write, "Dear Dad, your daughter." And only after my marriage is when I was able to vocalize and talk to him. And that was out of respect and
Hmm.
nothing beyond that. And that was the relation that we had. And I would not maybe change it for anything, but I think that has taught me how to respect, how to a lot of things, a resilience.
Yeah.
How do I decide what is right or wrong?
Yeah.
And since there were some ground rules for me, I think I never went on the wrong path. Right.
Yeah.
So certain things help you, certain things, I think, for me as a kid, I had that support system from my extended family. And so today when I look back, we are only two of us. Our extended family is back. My parents are in India,
India.
and my sister is in California. So how do I gather that support? So there are certain things that I know I'm not good at. Like I'm not an adventurous person. Like I do enjoy hiking, but I will not go jump into the water or something like that. Yeah, but then my brother-in-law is like that. So I try to tap into people around me. Whenever we go meet them, I tell him that take my kids out,
Yeah.
show them how to get wild, and expose them.
Yeah.
And it's so I don't see it as, oh, I have a flaw. I
Yeah.
see it as, okay, I don't have this. How can I nurture my kids on those skill sets?
Yeah.
And who around me has
Can
those
help
skill
them.
sets that can fill those cups?
Gaps,
Yeah.
They say that it takes a whole village to raise a child. And we all seen it. Like most of us lived in extended family, grandparents, uncles and aunts. And in Indians, there is a lot of different roles of different relations we have there. So, but that was everybody was filling in with the gaps we had in our
I think some
personality.
kind of emotional support all of us
Exactly.
had, even if we had a bad day.
Exactly.
So we had a
Right.
grandmom to talk
Right.
if mom is not there. So
Right.
I think building that support building that safe space, I would say that.
Correct.
Just, I mean, you just mentioned rather than correction, connect.
Connected.
Yeah.
What is it that is off?
Yeah.
Is what I take from your
Right.
conversation.
And providing that will only help you to share your feelings, right? If you don't have that safe space, then you are going to your friends, you're going somewhere else to ask what is right, what is wrong. But if you have that safe space connection with your kids, and then they will come back to you if there's an issue in the school,
Exactly.
and they can talk to you without any fear.
So the kids doesn't come with owner's manual. Everyone is different. I had two boys. One was so organized and the other was so disorganized. Living in the same whole household, same parents, same kind of food. So every kid is going to have some challenging thing. We have to take him as a one case. We cannot use a one blanket kind of statement or a
One size fits all. I think it doesn't go like
everyone
that.
is going to be different. As a parent, my responsibility is to learn what is my child is going through and help that process.
You work extensively with children. So what gives you that hope?
That's a very great question. I would say children are really resilient, right? Like there were certain challenges, but we coped with it. And similarly, they will learn to cope with it. But imagine giving them the tools, right tools early on, like breath work, like doctor mentioned, movement, engaging them with movement, not
A
just
conscious
academic.
time building
Right.
with them.
Yes, it could be just free time, right? Let them play by themselves, making sure that there is a routine, right? I think they thrive on routine. So all of these, if we have instilled within them at the okay, all of these like movement, breath work, and all of these, if we have instilled with them at the very young age, I think they will thrive. And despite the challenges that they will face in their life, they will know how to navigate. And yoga and mindfulness practices does not mean that emotions will go
Gone
away,
away.
right?
Yeah.
They only teach you how to be aware, and they will teach you how to respond and not react. I think most of us, we react, right? But what will all these slowing down techniques help us is understand our feelings and then react. I still feel anger, I still feel frustration, but I have that awareness. I have the time to take time out and say, okay, what is happening to me, how do I need to respond? And the most important thing, I think, is even if you get angry, react. Repair, I think, is very underrated. Parents should take the time to fix it. If I, like, 2 days ago, I had a late night call, and I was trying to put the kids to bed and they wanted to play longer. And then I yelled at my older son. And then I realized, okay, this is me who's anxious because I want to get to the call and I'm trying to rush this. And when I tucked them into bed, I told my older son, I'm sorry. And I explained, gave him the context that this is what I was going to, and that's why I was rushing, and I am sorry and apologize. And he acknowledged it. So it is that we are humans. I will go wrong. But the whole point is teaching them what if you do wrong, how do you fix it? I think that's the key. All of us know we will go wrong, but we don't know how to fix it. Yeah.
We need to show them our vulnerable side rather than our perfect side, that mommy is right always. We need to show them okay, that's the
One
good
thing
point.
which I like to emphasize here is that the parents needs to have an amazing relationship between them. If they have issues, talk it out. If they have issues, if you're not able to solve yourself, seek some professional help. Because you are knowingly or unknowingly writing a software on your kid. If you have issues with anger, kid is going to be angry. If you have issue with anxiety, the kid is going to have anxiety. So parents out there, please also work on you, because you are making a huge difference in this new life who is just exploring the world. And this is the essence of building a disease free society. If we start with the prevention earlier with the children, we start the healthier adults.
I really love that, how you both put such a wonderful thought into perspective, and I think gave altogether a new thought chain to all the parents listening to this podcast or conversation. A disease free society does not begin at hospital, it begins at home, at schools, and at the daily activities that you create for your kids. Thank you, Shruti, for sharing such a wonderful insights about children, about how we can raise a good adult. Thank you, Dr. Sodhi. As always, we are really grateful for all the knowledge that you share with our viewers, because awareness spreads health. We will see you next week on Holistic Health Weekly. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.